Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, continuing on, we've got Terrain. Well, what you've got, Lee, is TerrainMeshBuilder Part 1.
Yeah, I think there's a total of 3 different times that we're going to be messing with this guy.
That's correct.
So this one's going to be the first one, which is going to be mostly a lot of cleanup stuff. So we're going to first off start by renaming this guy. So instead of the train mesh, this is going to be our train mesh builder. So we don't really have a train patch of this. We don't have a train manager. All we have is a train mesh builder. Now the train mesh builder's job is to build the mesh, export it as an OBJ, and then get it all set up for us to bring in as a prefab. So in essence, this is building our mesh for us. So go ahead and refactor the name so all of that is happy. All right, now, because of the way this is set up, similar to what we've had before, there are some things that we just don't need anymore. One is going to be a collider. This thing isn't colliding with anything, and we're not going to be exporting the collider. Now, this is a good one. You may go, hey, why not just export the collider, put it in the asset bundle, and we don't have to worry about when we create it. Yeah, we thought that too. But apparently when you have a prefab with a collider on it and you export it as an asset bundle, when you read that asset bundle in, it still recalculates the collider.
Yep.
So doesn't matter. So we're not going to add it. Alrighty. Now, because nothing else is going to be accessing any of this stuff, I'm going to go ahead and turn these all to private. So, and let's see. We're not going to worry about tangents. So tangents can go away, colors can go away. We're not going to be messing with any of those either. So, and I believe I can make all these read-onlys as well. But it's saying no. Oh, yeah, I know why. Yes, I can make all these read-only, and I'm going to. Because I'm turning all the properties in the fields. And apparently McAfee says it's time for me to restart my computer. But, you know, I'm going to risk the safety of my computer for the sake of your guys' videos. So, if my computer blows up, I'm blaming it on you guys. Though I don't think it will. Alright, so instance field. Yeah. Name is mesh objects. Yeah, let's refactor all this stuff too. Alright, so we get rid of all of those. Now, position can stay the same. Don't need to mess with that. Now our static train builder, let's see what we got. Well, we don't need the material because it doesn't matter. Now this gets to be an interesting little discussion in of itself. With asset bundles, there are different ways that you can export the information in and out of an asset bundle. You can bundle a whole bunch of stuff together in a single bundle. So it is completely possible to texture up one of these train patches, assign a material to it, have textures applied to that material, and our shader and bump maps or parallax maps, whatever we want to have. And then when we build out an asset bundle, we can say, hey, find all of the stuff that is referenced by this prefab and include all of that information into an asset bundle. Completely legal to do that. The problem with doing that is we get very large asset bundles because now every terrain patch has a copy of the material and a copy of all the textures and a copy of the shaders, and that leads to basically hard drive bloat or server bloat in the case if we were putting it in the cloud and you had to download it. So all of these asset bundles that we're going to be building are going to share a common asset bundle. That's why we're going to make a monolithic bundle that has all these assets into it, and then they're all going to use that one asset bundle to get the correct information. Now, that also leads to another interesting concept. There is the potential that we could build the common asset bundle and have these asset bundles directly reference the other asset bundle. The nice thing with doing something like that is the fact that we build the common reference bundle and all the patches reference that bundle, and then when we import it, as long as we import the common asset bundle first before we load all of the terrain patch asset bundles, all of the asset bundles or all the terrain patch asset bundles will automatically know where the assets in the common asset bundle are. We don't have to do anything. That it's just all there automatically, which is kind of nice. There's a problem that we ran into when doing it that way as well. The problem is it gets into a very complex situation of using a build queue or a build stack where we're popping or pushing and popping build processes onto the stack so that these references are maintained correctly. Where this becomes an issue is if we decide that we need to go back and rebuild a set of terrain patches. We have to also rebuild the common patch. Where this gets to be tricky is the fact that let's say we have 10,000 patches that were built with the common patch version 1.0. Well, now that we have to build, say, another 1,000 patches, we have to rebuild the common patch, which would be, let's say, version 2.0. And all those patches are built against common patch version 2.0. So now we get in a problem that now that 1,000 patches need the common patch 2.0 and 10,000 patches need the common patch 1.0. So we end up in a very interesting problem where if we want to use one common patch, we either break 1,000 of them or we break 10,000 of them, or we have to reference two different common patches or common asset patches or common asset bundles.
Very good.
Which really gets to be a pain in the butt. So what I've decided that to alleviate this problem of having to use a stack and rebuilding the common asset bundle against terrain patches, because I expect that our terrain patches are going to be baked out in batches more often than not, especially with these large worlds and the fact that if we bake more than I think it's about 5,800 of them, Unity blows up.
Yep.
So what we end up doing is, or what I've decided to do instead, is we will bake out one common asset bundle, and we will use a mono behavior that when we load in a patch asset bundle will automatically attach this mono behavior to that asset. So when we load in an asset bundle, it becomes a prefab that we instantiate. To that prefab, we will attach a mono behavior. That mono behavior will then grab the information from the that common asset bundle and attach the material and anything else that is needed to that terrain patch. That way we can use one common asset bundle, and no matter how we decide to build out our patches or when we decide to build out our patches, everything will work correctly. And then if we decide to update our common asset bundle with different textures, or we change out the material, or we change out the shader, then we just update the one common asset bundle, and we don't have to rebuild all of the terrain patches along with it. So it just seems to be the best workflow with the minimum amount of space requirements. So that's the way we're going to go with it. So that was a long sidetrack just so I could delete material. But along with that, because I said we're just going to be baking out normals, or we're just going to be looking at normal information for now. We don't need tangents and colors because we just can't use them yet. I'm going to delete those. So we won't be baking that information out quite yet. We will later, but not right now. All right. So from there, that takes care of our initial part of TerrainMeshBuilder. Let's take a look at update. Now, update, we can kill all of the collider information or parts. We don't need it. Tangents and colors goes away. That leaves us with position. And we're not going to worry about this position here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Delete this. And we're not going to worry about naming our patch or our mesh. So we can get rid of that. That leaves us with vertices, UVs, triangles, normals. We're going to recalculate bounds. And I want to also do mesh. Come on. Really? Oh, recalculate. There we go. Recalculate normals. So we'll clear it. We'll assign the vertices, our UVs, and wow, how do I misspell UV so bad? And then we'll do triangles, normals, and then recalculate bounds and normals. That should do everything. And let me fix the spelling of this before.
And to answer your question as in how, that was you were just walking down, letting resharper.
Yeah, rename it, and it followed rules. So we'll fix that. All right, so that is all sorted. Now, create vertices. I'm just going to remove our temporary code there. Create vertices, create UVs, and create triangles all stay the same. We don't have to do anything with those. So we'll go ahead and minimize those. Now, back to our train builder, or our TerrainMeshBuilder. This one. All right, how do I want to set this up? Actually, where are we at in time on this one?
We're at about 13 minutes.
Okay.
It's a good stopping point if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because then we're going to get into a couple of different interesting things.
Okay.
And I said we just wrap up at this point, because this is the end of our cleanup part.
Mm-hmm.
From here, we're going to be implementing new functionality. Let me build this and make sure we get no errors. Yeah. So from here, this is the end of the cleanup of the TerrainMeshBuilder. From here, we're going to get it working so it's building patches.
Now let me ask you this: you had the TerrainMeshBuilder Part 1 and Part 2. This additional stuff, was it something intended for Part 2, or was it intended for Part 1?
Actually, I think it was Part 2.
Okay, all right. Then this is where we're supposed to stop.
So.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and wrap this one up, and we'll see you guys over the next video, and we'll continue on.
All right.